Hey there. Are you just planning for college applications and seeing that there's letters of recommendation? What are they? How many do I need to get? How do I even get them? Well, I'll be covering all that and how to be strategic when asking your recommenders to share more about you. So you don't want to miss the rest of this video. First, let me introduce myself. So I'm Tiffany. I'm a college and career service provider. I've been in this space for almost a decade, helping hundreds of students and families navigate the college application process and their career planning since I'm a recruiter at heart. I have a webinar coming up called ACING the College Applications that you can all sign up for. It's coming up on August 17th, which I would love for you all to join so I can share more about some tips and tricks and answer any questions live for you all as well. The link to sign up is down in the bio, and I'll link it here as well. For the first 50 people to sign up, I'll be offering free proofreading for you as an option in one of these sessions as well. So please do sign up as soon as you can. And don't forget to subscribe because on this channel, I'll be sharing all things college and career, everything from college tours, advice for college applications, and how to prepare for a career, including resume tips and many more. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, take a look at our website down below and book an appointment for a consultation. All right, let's get into it. So top competitive institutions oftentimes require anywhere from 1 to 3 required letters of recommendation, ranging from teachers and your counselors. You can find information on how many letters of recommendation you're going to need directly on the institution's website. Alternatively, you can check on the Common App portals. The UC system does not require any letters of recommendation, so you don't have to worry about that. And I would just double, triple check once the application portals open on how many you would need. Let's tackle when you should be asking for these letters of recommendation. I know that most of you that are watching are just coming back from summer break, and this is a good time. The reason why I say to reach out to your teachers ASAP once you start school is to be one of the first ones in line to ask. Your best teachers oftentimes have a wait list and they're just so busy during the school year. They're going to need time to give a proper attention to detail when writing your letter of recommendation. Hence, that's why they have a cap of how many students they're willing to take. I've seen some teachers only take 10, the most competitive teachers. I've also seen teachers take up to 60, which is a lot. And I would say in order to strategize, get in early because they'll likely have enough time to pay attention to yours and give you a quality recommendation. Also, you don't want to wait till last minute, say a week or a few days before the letters of recommendations are due, because it's rude. You want to be able to give your teachers and counselors enough time and a heads up. So I always recommend make sure no later than a month before applications are due. But if you're in a hurry because you're applying early, for instance, just let your teachers know that you're very apologetic and it would mean the world to you. And we'll talk a little bit more about strategies on how to make their life easier when they're writing these letters of recommendations for you. Okay, now we're moving on to who to ask. Counselors are given, so we'll just focus more on your teachers on this time. I would say teachers that have the best quality relationship with you. It doesn't necessarily need to be a teacher that's related to the major you're interested in, although that's a huge bonus. I would recommend that if you already know exactly what you're majoring in. And second is to also ask a teacher that can show different sides of you. And I say this because there's teachers where you did great in their class. There's also teachers where you were the leader in your group project and you really crushed it. And those are great qualities, and especially most universities like leaders. And then third, if you have a teacher that was a supervisor or advisor for your club that you were the president of or highly involved in as a member, I would recommend that you ask them because they can show more about you outside of the classroom, and that's always great as well. So a mix of academic as well as outside. Now that you've already brainstormed a few teachers, I would recommend having a few backup teachers as well. So ask those 2 to 3 your maximum, and then have a backup of who you think would make the most sense after you've asked your first choice teachers. Let's move on to what to share with them. You want to be able to control your own narrative. So I always recommend that students are very intentional and detailed with the teachers that they plan on asking for a letter of recommendation. How do you go about this? Well, making sure they have a very clear resume document, a brag sheet. Some teachers and schools are going to be asking you to fill out a form to let them know more about you, what schools you're interested in going to, what are your skill sets, what major you're interested in declaring if you know one, many other details. I've seen most teachers and counselors rely on this sheet heavily. Either you create it yourself or you can use their school given documents overall. And I recommend to share with them your essays, your college essays, if you already started working on them. And it also doesn't hurt to just set aside some time and ask your teachers if they're willing to meet with you for a quick coffee chat after school, for instance. That way it's a more genuine connection and they can ask all the questions that they have for you up front. Also, don't worry if you didn't write your essays yet. That's fine. You can just always give them an outline of what you were thinking about writing in these essays just so they can get a better sense of you. Now, let's talk about how to ask. Always ask in person. If you're watching this and school's out, that's fine. An email works, but in person is much more personal, and obviously it's more difficult for them to say no if you're in person as well. So start off with some small talk. You can go to them during their lunch break, after school, or even coming early into school for a few days just to catch all the teachers and ask them all at once just to get it off your plate. Explain to them why you like their class and why they might be a good match for you in writing these letters of recommendation, and ask them politely if they'd be willing to write a letter of recommendation for you since colleges are going to be requiring it. Oftentimes they'll say yes. Sometimes they'll say no. If they say no, no hard feelings. That's why you have the backup list that we were just talking about. Thank them for their time. Let them know that you understand they have a busy schedule. Most of the times they're going to say yes. Great, good job. One step down. Now the next step is to ask them how they want more information about you. And remember that brag sheet, resume, document that we mentioned earlier. Offer to them if they would like a copy of that just so they can learn more about you. Now it's time to send them a formal request. Most schools and college counselors are going to walk you through how to do this step. And essentially, most schools are going to have the ability for you to request this on a tool, either Naviance, for instance, Score. So follow that guidance from your college counselors when that time does come. Last few steps here is reminders. Make sure that if you're applying early to remind your teachers of this deadline up front. Don't wait until the last minute because you're nervous and you feel like you're being rude. Just let them know sooner than later. They understand deadlines and that you're human. And of course, check the portals and ensure that you can see the status if your teachers have sent it in or your counselors. If they haven't, send gentle reminders. Don't bother them too much. I would say maybe 2 weeks before the deadline, but if you're in a time crunch, make the best judgment on your call. If you were in their position, how often do you think it'd be fair to get reminders? And remember, they have so many other students beyond you. So try your best to make good judgment there. And once you see that they completed the letter recommendation, sent it off to the universities, thank them and keep them updated. Teachers and counselors genuinely care about their students. And when you win, they feel like they win too. So I know they'll be ecstatic for you and they're coming from a good place and heart. So if they're being delayed, just remember that they have a lot on their plate, and the best thing that you can do to help them is provide them as much information as possible and have a good attitude and be gracious. All right, that's all I have for you. Don't forget about the event coming up on August 17th. For those of you that are interested in getting templates on how to get letters and recommendations, all that sorts, I'll be giving you access if you go to this event as well. And don't forget to subscribe. Comment down below if you have any thoughts and questions. And of course, don't forget to like the video. I hope to see you next time.